Imagine a Viking so powerful, so fearless that even death itself couldn't lay him low. This is Ragnar Lothbrok, a warrior whose name echoes through time as a symbol of unyielding strength and unmatched cunning. But who was the real Ragnar Lothbrok, and how did his legend become immortal? Ragnar Lothbrok, a name that commands attention, fear, and respect. He's one of the most legendary figures in Viking history. But was he a man, a myth, or perhaps a bit of both? Today, we're peeling back the layers of history and myth to uncover the true story of Ragnar Lothbrok. His exploits were so extraordinary that even the most hardened historians find themselves captivated by his tale. What made Ragnar such an unstoppable force? Was it his physical prowess, his tactical genius, or something more? Join me as we unravel the incredible life of the Viking who couldn't be killed. You might think you know Ragnar Lothbrok from TV shows or folklore, but the real story is far more complex and thrilling. Ragnar wasn't just another Viking chieftain. He was a legend in his own time and remains one to this day. He not only changed the course of Viking history, but also left an indelible mark on the lands he conquered. By staying with us, you'll discover the truth behind the man, the myth, and the enduring legacy of Ragnar Lothbrok. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. The tale of Ragnar Lothbrok begins in the early Viking Age, a time when the Norse people were just beginning to stretch their influence across Europe. Born to a modest chieftain, Ragnar grew up in a world where survival depended on strength, courage, and cunning. But Ragnar was not content with simply surviving. He was determined to become a legend. One of the earliest and most enduring stories about Ragnar involves his battle with a fearsome serpent. According to the sagas, Ragnar fashioned a pair of enchanted, hairy breeches to protect himself as he fought the beast. He emerged victorious, earning not only the serpent's treasure, but also his famous nickname, Lothbrok, meaning hairy breeches. This story, like many others about Ragnar, blurs the line between fact and fiction, but it highlights the traits that made him legendary: his bravery, his ingenuity, and his relentless pursuit of glory. As Ragnar's fame grew, so did his ambitions. He set his sights beyond the Scandinavian shores, leading daring raids into the British Isles, France, and beyond. His strategic mind was just as sharp as his sword. Ragnar knew when to strike, where to strike, and how to strike to ensure victory. His raids were so effective that they left entire kingdoms trembling at the mere mention of his name. One of Ragnar's most audacious campaigns was his attack on Paris in 845. Leading a fleet of longships up the Seine River, Ragnar and his warriors breached the city's defenses, demanding an enormous ransom to spare Paris from destruction. The Frankish king, Charles the Bald, had no choice but to pay up, cementing Ragnar's reputation as a Viking who could bring even the mightiest of rulers to their knees. But perhaps the most famous episode in Ragnar's life is his capture by King Aella of Northumbria. After a string of successful raids in England, Ragnar was eventually captured and faced a brutal execution, thrown into a pit of venomous snakes. Yet, even in the face of certain death, Ragnar's spirit remained unbroken. According to legend, as the snakes closed in, Ragnar uttered his final, defiant words: "How the little pigs would grunt if they knew how the old boar suffers." This was a clear call to his sons to avenge his death, and avenge him they did, launching a massive invasion of England that changed the course of history. Ragnar's story, however, doesn't end with his death. His legacy lived on through his sons, Bjorn Ironside, Ivar the Boneless, Sigurd Snake in the Eye, and others, who became some of the most feared and respected warriors of the Viking Age. These men carried Ragnar's legacy forward, expanding their father's conquests and ensuring that the name Lothbrok would never be forgotten. But who exactly was Ragnar Lothbrok? Was he a single man, or could he have been a composite of multiple historical figures? The sagas and historical records suggest that Ragnar's story may be a blend of fact and legend, with elements of other Viking leaders' exploits woven into his tale. However, this only adds to his mystique. Whether Ragnar was one man or many, his story encapsulates the very essence of the Viking spirit: fearless, relentless, and unforgettable. Ragnar Lothbrok's life is a blend of myth and reality, but one thing is clear: his story embodies the fearless, relentless Viking spirit that has captivated imaginations for centuries. Whether he was one man or many, Ragnar's legacy lives on, a symbol of strength and cunning that refuses to fade. If you found this exploration of Viking history fascinating, don't forget to subscribe.